So one of the things that I see popping up again and again is from new YouTubers. They want to know kind of like how to get into it. They want to know what type of audio to use, or even more kind of interesting, what type of cameras to use. And that can have a very varied response, but it kind of got me thinking, is there a camera that can actually kind of serve as both a beginner camera, an intermediate camera, and a professional camera all in the one package? And today, we're going to be finding out the answer to that, because we're going to be reviewing the NearStream VM20. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. This is DemonView. Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. I do appreciate you tuning in, and today we're diving into a camera that claims to bring pro-level 4K streaming into your home studio without costing a fortune. This here is the NearStream VM20. It's a wired 4K camera with zoom, remote control, and plug-and-play simplicity. Well, how does it actually perform? Well, today we're going to be unboxing it, we're going to be taking a look at the specs, and we're going to see whether this camera lives up to the hype and whether or not it's going to be suited for your use. Now, a quick disclaimer about this product. NearStream did send this to me for free to review, but they didn't pay me for any of this, and they didn't have kind of input into what I will say about this camera. I could open this up and absolutely love it, or not. So we're going to have an honest review about whether or not this camera is suited for whether it's a beginner, an amateur, or a pro level person. And the first thing we're going to do is take a look at what's inside the box. But remember, everything you hear about this and watching this video is going to be my own honest opinion based upon actual hands-on testing. So are you ready? Let's take a look inside the box. Okay, so this is box. This is the NearStream USB 4K live streaming camera. And let's see what we get in here. And hopefully we can do this really simply. So let's open her up there. Nice quality packaging and nice protective stuff here. And the first thing we do when we pop this open is we see some manuals, probably instructions. Yep, one user manual telling you how to use it. Like so. We have a quick start connection guide, and this is actually pretty important because it tells you not only all the connections available on the camera, which we'll get into, but also how to operate the remote. And then you have a product warranty card. I always fill these in because it's nice to know that if you ever have a problem with your camera, you know, people will actually just fill the warranty and, you know, probably send you out a replacement unit. But honestly, the years of filling in warranty cards, I've never had to use one, thankfully. Okay, we have here a giant USB-C cable. Let's see how long this fella is. And oh wow, that is pretty long. And that's a good thing, because if you're trying to mount the camera further away than usual, you know, that's what you want. You want as much cable as possible. And yeah, that is a very, very long USB-C cable. That's fantastic. Then we have the remote itself. And we're going to get into the features of this remote, but just to give you a quick look at this thing, it's lightweight, and it's actually pretty handy because it's got quite a number of buttons on it. You can mute the video, you can mute the audio. It's really kind of handy. I'm presuming that's a directional area for pan settings. You've got a quick zoom and a slow zoom, and then you've got some preset zoom levels, because like I said, this camera does have programmable zooms on it. And then finally we have the unit itself, and wow, that is it's a pretty hefty camera, I have to say. It's much heavier than your normal kind of webcam. It's much larger too, but that's because of the amount of technology in here. First of all, let's take a look. This lens here is an actual optical zoom lens, and that's going to be far better than digital zoom. This does have digital zoom on it, but you're only going to use a digital zoom once you kind of exceed the optical zoom on it, so that's good. Optical zoom is something that a lot of normal web cameras, or even action cameras being used as web cameras, just don't have. Yes, you can zoom in and out, but that's all digital zoom, and usually it's the more you use a digital zoom, the lower your quality you get, because you're just cutting into the image. But yeah, I'm very impressed that this has optical zoom, because that's going to be something. Up the top here, you see these holes. These are microphones, and this actually has a total of 8 microphones built in, and that's basically for noise cancelling from all directions, something else that web cameras don't have. So I'm expecting some pretty impressive things from this. But here's the thing that really gets me, that's really good. Take a look at the connections on this. Okay, we have You can actually, first of all, a microphone in, so you can use wireless microphones with this, or a wired mic if you want. And for me, that is absolutely fantastic. You can walk around, turn your head around, and I kind of wish I was using this right now, because as I'm pointing out the features in this, I have to keep my head turned in a very particular direction away from the screen, away from what I'm doing, so the Yeti microphone I'm using kind of picks me up. So yeah, having the ability to actually plug in a wireless microphone directly into the camera, fantastic, I love it. We have a power port here. You don't need to power the camera, but if you are using some other connections, you might need to actually power the camera, and I'll get into that very shortly. But here's the real piece de resistance. As you can see, HDMI out. You can actually directly put a HDMI signal out of this camera straight into a HDMI capture card and use that with a multi-port switcher. We'll talk more about that in a second. You've got a USB-C, and that's for using this camera simply as a web camera. Plug it in into your USB-C port, it's ready to go. And then finally, you've got an RJ45 port, in which case you can actually have multiple cameras put into an RJ45 port switcher, one that's powered, and basically have a professional setup. So here we are, here's the main unit itself, and as you can see, it is quite large. And one of the other things it has is your tripod connector on the bottom of it. So you put this on a tripod and you're ready to go. Okay, so here's the big question. How does it look? Well, actually, I'll try it. When I plugged this thing in, the image popped up and I was just like, whoa. I wasn't expecting to have such a high frame rate. I mean, this really does appear to be like a proper 30 frames per second camera. Usually if you have a cheaper camera, smaller sensor, in low light, you're going to get a lot of kind of blurring and everything. But the image, as you can see, is kind of like, it's very sharp. It's kind of, yeah. I would say the image looked kind of sharper than the more expensive camera that I usually use. And what I'm really liking here is the fact that you do have the remote control. You can adjust all the settings for the camera, the picture quality and everything directly within the camera itself. There's no software to install. You can just do it all with the remote or use OBS Studio to actually do it. And that's what we're currently recording in right now, is OBS Studio. And yeah, the fact that if you're a creator and you're trying to like do a demonstration of something, or let's say you just want to show somebody a close-up of this wonderful box, well, thankfully I have a remote control and I can zoom right in on it. And that's not something I could actually do if I was using my regular camera, because I don't have a zoom on it. So the next question is, what does the audio sound like? Well, right now I'm using the 8 microphones on the camera. Now, for reference, the camera is pretty far away from me. Here's the length of the remote control. I'm holding this all the way out to here and I'm still not touching the camera. That's how far away the camera is. That's how far away the microphones are compared to my other microphone, which I use pretty much close up. Now, for me, that kind of did lack a bit of bass. It was kind of like in the upper range. So I would have to correct that in post, which I usually do with my audio anyway. But what you're probably not hearing is the fact that there's a freezer running full cycle over there in the background, and yet it's not being picked up at all by the camera. And to me, that's actually quite good. Now, you might not think the audio is as good as a proper microphone that's kind of right up close, and for that, you could be correct in thinking that. I mean, don't forget, if you're a proper true creator, you're going to be processing your audio and your video in post anyway, so I mean, with some work, it could actually sound quite good. But the fact that it's got 8 of those microphones and it's noise cancelling, absolutely perfect for me. So who's going to benefit from this camera? And that kind of is where it gets a little bit tricky. If you're a beginner in the whole YouTube live streaming area, then I for one reckon that you should be using an expensive, good camera. Now, a lot of people have picked up like $10, $20 you know, webcams with 1080p images or even less, and the results are absolutely terrible. So therefore, investing in a good camera is absolutely essential. And yeah, if you're going to be doing live streaming, you're going to want a 4K camera. So that's where this camera does come in quite kind of handy, because it is a proper 4K camera. So is it suited for beginners? I would say absolutely, especially if you're starting out and you kind of like don't have the expertise, because this camera is a standalone unit. You plug in that USB-C cable and the camera was immediately detected for me. Had no issues with the setup. I just had to like tweak the colors a little bit just so it kind of matched the previous camera that I was using. And for me, ease of use and simplicity is one of the most essential things, especially if you're going to get good image quality out of it. So yeah, that's where the NearStream definitely wins major points for me. But what if you're kind of like the intermediate creator, the person who actually wants to have a multi-camera setup? Well, in that case, yeah, you're still kind of going to want to be using the camera like this, because of the connection options available. You can use it directly as a USB-C web camera, but you also have the option of using the HDMI out and using HDMI switchers, or running an RJ45 in there and having an actual powered Ethernet port to actually access the camera. So yeah, if you're an intermediate person and you're going to have a camera looking at you, a camera looking down, I mean, yeah, these are definitely kind of some of the options that you do want to look at. So for beginner and intermediate, absolutely. What about the advanced level person, the pro users? Well, pro users do use multicam setups. I mean, they kind of use them quite a lot. So once again, you're kind of looking at a camera that offers it all. Now, this is where a very important point comes in, and that is the price. So when I tell people to get a professional camera for their actual live streaming or doing their YouTube channels, the price you're kind of looking at is usually about the $300 range. And that's basically for a 4K camera that's going to offer you stuff like HDR, image controls, and work well in low light. That's not unexpected. That's not a huge expense at all. I think that's a perfectly good price. And hey, guess what? That's exactly what this camera costs. Now, let's talk about my professional camera that I use, the one that I consider my kind of like first camera. That's this one here. Guess what? The price on this is $300. The price on this is $300. And let's look at a bit more of the comparisons. The fact is, on this one, it's a web camera. It is, you plug it into the USB-C port. That's your only option. If I want to do kind of a multicam setup, that's it. I've already used the USB-C port. But for the same $300, I'm going to get the USB-C port, I'm going to get the HDMI out, I'm going to get the RJ45 connection, whether I use a powered RJ45 or power the camera externally. Yeah, that's going to be kind of like a big advantage to using the NearStream. Then we have simplicity of use. My current studio camera that I use here, it's not really natively supported. You have to download a separate app that you have to go through to adjust all your image controls and everything in it. And that can be a pain sometimes. Sometimes the app doesn't load up properly. Sometimes the cameras aren't detected properly. And even this morning, I had problems starting this video because OBS Studio was just not playing well and kept on crashing because of these cameras here and using their kind of like third-party driver or app, so to speak. Whereas with the NearStream, I just plugged that thing in and it started working. There was no problem with it. There was no kind of like apps I had to configure. There was no kind of camera settings I really had to do. I was just able to go into it, tweak my colors a little bit, and that was it. I was ready to start recording. So for ease of use and the fact that it works, again, the NearStream is scoring points here. So folks, it's quite simple. If you want to step up your content, look sharp on your streams, and control your setup like a pro, the VM20, it's a fantastic choice, and the fact that it works with nearly everything is a huge win because it's a native camera. Now, whether you're new to the game or upgrading your workflow, I think it definitely deserves a look. So for me, the VM20 is one heck of a camera. I think if you're a proper creator, you're going to enjoy this. In fact, I want to show you one thing here. Just look at the lens on the camera. I'll tilt it over this way. You can see it. I'm just going to zoom out with the remote here, and you can see how fast and soft that proper optical zoom is working on this camera. So for me, yeah, this thing offers so many features for the price point with so much connectivity options on it, and it's just hassle-free. It just works. So yeah, suitably impressed by this camera. Can't wait to see what else I can do with it. And I really am impressed with this. So folks, that's the end of my review. I really do hope that you liked it and that you learned something from it. If you did, make sure you check out the links below. That's where you'll actually find everything you need to actually purchase one of these units myself. If you're a content creator, if you're getting into YouTube for the first time or have been there for a while, it's definitely a unit worth looking at. So that's my take on it, folks. I really do hope you enjoyed the review. And until next time, cheerio.